Hello, and welcome to today's financial aid presentation. My name is Stuart Perry, and I'm Executive Director of Financial Aid for the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. The purpose of this presentation is to help new students and their parents apply for financial aid for the 2013-14 academic year. The PowerPoint slides should be available to you on the website. You can pull them up on your computer or print them out to follow along. Let's move to slide 2 and get started. The material I will cover outlines the application process to apply for need-based financial aid. That is, financial aid that's based on a family's financial situation. This includes federal grants, like the federal Pell Grant that you may have heard of, the Minnesota State Grant, which is for needy students from the state of Minnesota who attend college in Minnesota, and need-based institutional grants from St. Ben's and St. John's. Now, grants are similar to scholarships in that they are gift aid that does not have to be repaid. The main difference between grants and scholarships is that grants are typically need-based, so eligibility, especially in the case of federal and state grants, is limited to students from lower and middle-income families. Now, we have more flexibility with our own institutional St. Ben's and St. John's grants, and often award these to funds to students who may not be eligible for federal or state grant funding. Scholarships, on the other hand, are based on merit or high school academic performance, such as your GPA or a talent in music or theater, for example. Work study or student employment and federal student loans are the other types of aid for which you will be considered by applying for financial aid. Let's move to slide 3. Now, the information that you will provide on the financial aid application, called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, will be used to determine your eligibility for need-based aid. Some of the items are listed on this slide. Income, specifically both the student and parent 2012 adjusted gross income and some forms of untaxed income. In addition, you'll report the family size, or the number in the household, the number of children in college, and certain types of investments. Assets typically play a smaller role in determining eligibility, since some of the major assets that families often have do not need to be reported on the FAFSA. The assets that you do not need to report include the value of the family home or home equity, the value of a small family business if it has less than 100 employees, and the value of retirement accounts such as a 401k or a 403b. You do, however, have to report current year or prior year contributions to these plans as untaxed income. Now, the FAFSA, which I'll discuss shortly, will provide detailed instructions on what to include. Let's go to slide 4. Now, before beginning the FAFSA, there are 2 items listed here that you'll want to complete. First, both the student and the parent should complete their 2012 federal tax return, if you are required to file. You'll find it easier to complete the FAFSA if you have your taxes done. You are permitted to report estimated information on the FAFSA if your taxes will be delayed for some reason. If you do so, you'll need to log back into the FAFSA at a later date and provide the actual numbers. Second, you'll want to apply for a PIN in order to sign the FAFSA electronically. The student will get a PIN, and at least one parent will get the PIN. You'll also have the option of requesting a PIN as you complete the FAFSA, but I suggest getting one ahead of time. Let's move to the next slide, number 5. Now, when you apply for a PIN, you'll provide your full legal name, your date of birth, and your Social Security number. You are to keep your PIN secure, not share it, keep it confidential, because it can be used to access confidential information. The PIN is not only used to sign the FAFSA, but also needed to access other federal financial aid-related information, such as your student loan history while you're a student and after you graduate. Let's move to slide 6. Now, while the FAFSA is required of aid applicants essentially at all colleges, other steps in the financial aid application process can be different at each college. At St. Ben's and St. John's, there are 3 steps to apply for aid, and I'm going to walk you through these, starting with slide 7. The first step is to complete the FAFSA, which again stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And you can access the FAFSA at www.fafsa.gov. Now, be careful when you type this website, since there is also a FAFSA.com website run by a for-profit outfit that will charge you to file the FAFSA. The FAFSA is completed each year by college students to apply for need-based federal, state, and institutional aid. You'll have the FAFSA results sent to the colleges to which you are planning or considering attending. Now, FAFSA has become pretty user-friendly, especially, again, if you already have your taxes done. And it does have a save feature, so if you don't finish it, you can go back in at a later date and do so. The federal government has produced a series of videos about applying for aid and completing the FAFSA that are fairly well done and available on YouTube. The website is noted here on slide 7, youtube.com/federal student aid. Let's move to the next slide. Now, the reason I encourage you to file your taxes first and as early as possible is so that you can make use of a feature called IRS Data Retrieval Tool. This tool enables you to transfer your income and tax information from the IRS into your FAFSA, and it better ensures that the information you provide is accurate. Now, due to the delayed legislation that was passed to address the fiscal cliff, we've been informed that data retrieval won't be available until late February. Now, don't let this delay on the part of the federal government delay your filing the FAFSA. Complete your FAFSA as early as you can, and if data retrieval is not available to you at that time, possibly because your tax return has not been processed by the IRS, complete the FAFSA by entering your income and tax information from your tax return. If you go this route, I advise you then to go back later and use the data retrieval tool to transfer your tax figures. If you choose not to use data retrieval for some reason, you are more at risk for being selected for verification, which would require you to provide us with a tax return transcript that you would request directly from the IRS to confirm the accuracy of your information. This extra hurdle could delay your application and school's ability to notify you of your financial aid package. Now, if you've already started or filed and completed the FAFSA, don't worry. You can log back into your FAFSA and use the data retrieval tool when it becomes available. Let's move to slide 9. The second step to apply for financial aid for St. Ben's and St. John's is to complete the CSB+SJU financial aid application. This is an online form available on our website. You complete it, and it's electronically submitted to the financial aid office at St. Ben's and St. John's. Now, on this form, you're going to report information that we will use in conjunction with your FAFSA to award institutional need-based financial aid. Let's move to slide 10. After you complete the St. Ben's St. John's aid application, you'll be instructed to print out the certification page. You'll sign and date this document and return it to the financial aid office. You can send it in via email, a fax, or regular U.S. mail. If you send it or any other documentation to us via email, please send it as a PDF attachment. Let's move to slide 11. Now, you may ask or wonder why St. Ben's and St. John's requires a form in addition to the FAFSA. And the two reasons for doing that are listed here. First, the federal government will select some applications for review in a process called verification. If you are selected for verification, the colleges that you are considering must verify the accuracy of the information you reported on the FAFSA. We collect that information on our institutional aid application. The St. Ben's St. John's aid application is also used to report special circumstances that cannot be reported on the FAFSA. The most common ones are listed here: high medical expenses, K-12 parochial tuition, and changes to income. Now, we will normally ask for documentation of these special circumstances, such as a Form 1040 Schedule A for medical, or an invoice for parochial school tuition. Let's move to slide 12. Now, the priority deadline for submitting your FAFSA, the CSB+SJU aid application, and the certification page is March 15th. And we set a relatively early deadline so we can complete as many financial aid packages as possible before May 1. Also note, though, that we will continue to process and review financial aid applications after March 15th. I realize many of you are probably anxious to hear about your financial aid eligibility and your financing options. St. Ben's and St. John's will attempt to notify you of your award within 3 to 4 weeks of completing your application. and we'll try to get it out sooner if possible. If you follow this timeline, you'll have time to determine and consider what your net price will be, and perhaps visit campus again before making an enrollment decision. Slide 14 provides a reminder of the important May 1 enrollment deposit deadline. All colleges where you've been accepted for admission must give you till May 1 to decide whether you're going to enroll. Some schools may require a housing deposit before May 1. St. Ben's and St. John's do not have a separate early deposit for housing, since we essentially guarantee on-campus housing for all new students. Once you make your enrollment decision, you should submit your $300 deposit to St. Ben's and St. John's admission office. This deposit is non-refundable, since we want to be sure you have made your final college choice. However, it will be credited towards your fall semester tuition charges. I'm now on slide 15, which is the final slide. Today's presentation and the information that I've shared is meant to be just an overview. If you have an unusual situation or a specific question about how to appropriately report something on the FAFSA or the St. John's, St. Ben's aid application, feel free to contact us. You may also contact us after you received your financial aid package if you have any questions. I want to thank you for listening and participating in today's presentation, and I wish you good luck and perseverance as you move forward with your college to selection process.